on the B2B side of things?
Honestly, B2B is for us a very difficult topic because we have to work with a lot of retailers together, a lot of operators, and we are not the only one, and especially in Asia, I can see there are a lot of other brands right now in their hands. So it is a pretty difficult topic for us as well. And I guess one thing is we have to see how we can, and that's what the retailer unfortunately is only interested in, how can we drive foot traffic?
Right.
And that's it all. And it's just very, very simple. And I said before, our business partners, I guess most of them in retail and brick and mortar, they are not too advanced in social or digital just yet. So it is our journey, or it's our job actually, from a brand side, to educate these people. And first, it's my job to educate my colleagues internally and say, hey, we've got stuff. And the first question obviously comes up again is, right, we've got 40 million global fans. How many people do I get into my store? Right. So that's I think our collaborations we have to do and work internally, educate our retail folks, and then eventually obviously drive foot traffic.
Yeah, that's actually a great segue to the next topic that we wanted to cover, which is measurement and ROI. And as I said before, whether you own your own business or are working on behalf of a client or have a boss, you always have that discussion where you've got a brilliant vision about what you can do, but then you need to justify it. I guess the way I look at this is kind of traditional, I guess, but looking at it as a sales funnel, right, where at the top you have people who don't know you or don't know your brand or your company, and then they have some awareness of you, and then they have some understanding of you, and then they have some moment of action where they either like your page or click on your e-commerce site or whatever, and then they become a customer, and then at the bottom of the funnel you have CRM, right, which is a very valuable function of S&M commerce, of this whole social commerce area. So looking at that funnel, you can measure the different interactions you have with customers or prospects all along each stage of that funnel using different types of metrics. I'd be very interested to hear, from our panelists. Adrian, I'll start with you. You're probably having some discussions with headquarters about the scarce use of resources and how to deploy and what's the balance between driving traffic to offline retail versus e-commerce sales and things like that. What are some of the metrics that you look at, and if you could also tell us some of your headaches, right? Are there some kind of leaps of faith that have to be made in terms of what the results will be from the investments that you're making?
Sure, I think measurement is probably one of the holy grails that for digital to work hard. I've been at it for 15 years and I don't think this is a silver bullet. So I think if you're closer in, let's start backwards in terms of the actual sale. I think that's probably the easiest, where you're doing more CRM, direct marketing, or really just driving purchases. That's quite measurable. You get a sale, you get a purchase, you know who they are. I think it's upstream where talk about driving awareness, where you're facing several dilemmas, and our issue is managing between traditional and digital media. How much should I spend on both of those, and what are the measurements to equalize that? Is a TV ad the same as one banner impression? So, I think that's probably the first place where we start. We look at models and analyzing. We do sort of compare and contrast, sort of compare and control what the value of an ad would be, whether it be on print or online. I think so that's very important for us. And the most important one right now is really for engagement, because as a brand, why we're not so focused on the sale is because anyone can buy a t-shirt, right? You can sell a t-shirt anywhere, a white t-shirt is a white t-shirt. The reason why they buy our white t-shirt is because of our brand. So there's a value, intrinsic value there. So for us, it's about driving enough engagement to really want people to love our brand. And that brand value is really where we use engagement to drive. And that is about engaging with us to understand what are our points of view in life. We have specific points of view on sports. It's not about the blood, sweat, and tears about playing sports. It's about enjoyment of sport, which is everyone can play sports and enjoy it. Not everyone's got a win that everyone can be a winner. So we have this position around after our athlete. Everyone doesn't have to win. We just all come to the park and everyone can win at the park. So it's about measuring that sort of value. If you engage with us in an experience and then measure that experience, whether it be brand preference. So we do a lot of qualitative surveys on both online and offline, and we compare those. And then really, how many of those then come to our store? So I think that's the connection point. I think the integration point where it's been the hardest. Where okay, I know a million people have played my game, they had an experience at one of my parties, and they've actually turned up to the store, and that's the hardest part. Which is you can give them vouchers, they don't, I can tell you what, consumers don't like that. They actually think it's really corny. Come to an event like this and give you a 10% off voucher. Actually, we do this a lot. Very few people actually use it. And that's the difference between a brand experience and then just a direct sell. Because we're in the business for long term. We're not here for immediate sell. And I think there's a place for immediate sell, but those are not the consumers that we're looking for. Yeah, that will change and switch the price.
So,
Danny,
I was going to say, so Danny, can you tell us how you help set the right expectation with your brand partners, right? Because the condom or the burger goes, or the excess capacity in the nail salon or whatever is absorbed by the special offer. But how do you help people understand what the measurement criteria should be and what the expectation should be and the ROI?
Talking about ROI, for us, we track the lifetime value of a customer. So we're able to track it from once the first time customer purchases and the whole lifetime value of the customer. That's the most important measure for us, ROI. In terms of ROI, actually, social is one of the easiest ways that you guys can track, return on investment versus traditional advertising methods. A few months ago in November, we ran a TVB ad, 30-second TVB ad for a whole month. We had 500 spots. So it was the first time we did a TV ad, and for any advice, we did the before and afterwards in terms of traffic to our website and actual sales. But it didn't prove that the TV ad we spent a lot of money on proved worthwhile for us at least. So it didn't generate the traffic and the sales that we expected. But there was a intrinsic value in terms of awareness, branding awareness. But I probably will think secondly, this time again, I had to use it again in terms of the TVB ad. But in terms of online wise, it's really much easier. There's so many different tracking mechanisms which you guys can track a click and a cost per click, and then how that relates in terms of the actual customer. There's, I'm sure Victor can help you guys in terms of the tracking aspect.
Exactly. So let's just go to you, Victor. What are some of the tools out there, free, paid, otherwise, that can be used on the measurement side?
Depending, with our audience, or you are your business owner, your publishers, or who you are. Obviously, Google Analytics is free. You just go on Access, you can use it. Go to ComScore, it's pretty popular, you can use. Just go back a little bit on the tracking ROI, which is very important. In a way, it's actually what you want. A click is very important to turn maybe to the one. It may not be important to print. So think about what's your KPI, what does it mean to you? For every sometimes like TV is easy. For digital it's a bit difficult. They ask you for more. To click, where you bring the customer to my stores. You put a TV 30 seconds ad on that. Can you go to TV and call the sales? Hey, where's my customers? I don't see them. It's total different expectations when we look into digital. So think twice, exercise, find your own KPI. Everyone is a bit different.
Okay. Then Alex. Yeah.
Sorry, one comment about the KPI stuff, because I guess we have a whole data warehouse with tons of servers where we have so much information which is all great. And believe me, I have seen decks of slides where we have for certain campaigns, for certain touch points, there were about 30 KPIs for a social media campaign, which is just like, wow, great. Do we really want to hit all the KPIs, or do we just trash and bin 29 of these and focus on one? So I think that's really the key, and I guess also for you, if we go a bit more interactive right now, choose your channel wisely, and then don't get distracted by all the fancy KPIs, but literally be spot on what you want to achieve and work against it, and then optimize. In mobile, for instance, we have some teams and agencies we work with, and I'm saying teams because we have tens and 15 people who don't do anything else than optimize our display and advertisement, for instance. And that's something in a digital world we have the luxury of taking it down immediately. So focus on the KPIs, optimize, and don't get distracted by tons of data. I guess Victor said the same, so sorry.
Yeah.
I can just add, I think there's two different types of metrics that we look at. One is effectiveness, one is efficiency. I think if you have to go a route, we'd always go and understand effectiveness first, because to Alex's point, you can always optimize. So you need to understand your full potential before you optimize. If you optimize too early, you may not realize the full potential. So these are people always chasing the cheapest CPM. That's not necessarily best for you in the long term. So you get what you pay for.
If you have something to say.
We actually take, because of the fact that our property is a website, we have no brick and mortar presence, and our only goal is to drive people to that website. So we're able to be quite focused, and because of that, we've actually stopped doing any what would be called traditional advertising. We don't do any print advertising or any TV advertising anymore at this point. That's mainly because we're in an education phase, which is why social media and online play such a big role. So essentially, from a measurement perspective, what we do is we have our trade shows, which are our only traditional advertising venue at this point because of the nature of our industry. That drives new leads for us. We also drive new leads through online advertising and EDM, list acquisition, very old school. And then we use social media purely for engagement. We don't consider social media as a new lead driver for us at all, because usually people who come to our property on social media are looking for information or additional information. They've already engaged with our site, they already know what our brand is, and they're looking for more. So we measure social media primarily by engagement and visitors who come back to our website to look for more, whereas our new lead generation is pretty much outside of social media.
So is anyone ready for a shot of sake yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, says Jay. So I'd like to open up the floor to